How are you guys? It's Jay here today on Christmas morning. So welcome. Just sitting around thinking about just things crack me the fuck up. Excuse my language. I know Christmas and I'm swearing already. And now by no means am I a finished product, okay? I have lots of improvement. I am constantly aware of my mood, my thoughts mostly, and that affects your mood, especially in stressful situations, especially in things, that you might not want to do. And the more I practice that, the better it becomes more automatic. You can teach an old dog new tricks. You can reprogram your brain. Okay. So where am I going with all this here? It just cracks me up, and it just blows my mind how fake a lot of Christians are. I'm sorry, I don't know how else to say it. And if this upsets you, you're either taking this the wrong way or you're one of these people. And again, this is just an observation that I always notice. Every time, it's like the church people, okay? And it's not everybody, but it is an overwhelming amount. And I've dealt with this since I was 17 years old. And what I don't understand is people who claim to live by the Bible, but even that, I mean, there's a lot of interpretation for the Bible, okay? How about just living a good life like Jesus? Like the whole point is to emulate Jesus. He is the example. So any way you slice it, they're just not acting like Jesus at all. And these people are just selfish and running each other off the road and cheating on their spouses and yelling at their kids for stupid, over spilled milk, over stupid shit. And again, everyone's got their moments, and boy, have I had mine, okay? But at some point, you have to realize like this life is not meant to be lived like angry and like something more. It's like everybody always has to know. Guys, I don't know if you realize this, but we don't know shit about shit. And don't tell me, oh, we have scientific proof, but we saw Noah's Ark, we've been into the moon, we've been here. I got to be honest, and I used to believe all those things. And the more I dig, and the more I realize that all of this is to control the masses need to be controlled so that the rich can be rich and control the world. They don't give a shit about you guys. They control you with anything on that big rectangle, that big electric lit up rectangle, especially if it's on network TV. But it's common sense. Like you should be able to decipher bullshit and would feel the truth and love always feel right. If you don't feel right about something, if this TV's telling you something how to feel and it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't right, guys. Being accepting, being loving, giving of yourself, thinking of everyone else first besides you, knowing that you are not, you know, everything is ego driven these days. The athletes, you name it, the singers, the musicians, not all of them, but the mainstream pop icon people. It's all about getting that bag and getting my money and this, and getting my fame and my respect and getting my flowers. Oh, these cringe statements, like. There is nothing about that at all. Do you think that God, whatever you believe in, you think the creator at the end of all this is going to say, wow, you did good. You did good, rapper guy. You made $300 million. You sold, 100 million albums. Like, do you think he's going to give a shit about how many I hate to say he, but do you think the creator, because it's using old terminology, forgive me. And if that's how you believe, that's fine. Long as you get to the same point, who cares? As long as you're a good, loving, in touch person with yourself, that means taking care of your body, that means respecting the life that you have. Once you start doing those things, meditation, random acts of kindness for people that you'll never get credit from, that's fucking living. That's living like Jesus. To me, you don't need to know all these Bible verses. Yeah, the details are great, but the details are irrelevant because it's made for even children to understand. And if you watch children, most of the time, unless they're raised in some extreme circumstances, most children want to share. They want to hug each other. They're beautiful. I love watching little kids. It's so hilarious. And then slowly but surely, day by day, hour by hour, they start to program you in the schools. And it was all, what do you mean programming? Yes, it is programming. Everything is programmed. And a lot of that programming is for the betterment of, it's always up to leadership. It's always out of fear. It's always fear-based. God's not fear-based. My girlfriend, she mentioned a great question the other day. We were talking about some things, and she just asked one of the greatest questions I've ever heard. And I was proud of her for saying it. I'm just saying it was a pretty deep question. She goes, "What does it mean by God fearing, like fearing God?" And this is just my opinion. God does not want you to be afraid of him. I believe these churches and these leaders want you to think that, so that you put that money in the collection bin. You show up every week. You start judging others. And what's the first thing people always say? "Oh, you got to come to my church. You have to come to my church. Hey, have you ever been to my church? What church do you go to?" And then these people will lecture you and I got in an actual argument not long ago with a friend I haven't seen in so long, and I'm still just thunderstruck by it. I'm just blown away by it. Because I don't believe in that way for me, I don't believe in that, I'm not a Christian that way. I believe that the Bible has been misinterpreted. I believe that Jesus is meant to be followed and not worshiped. That's just my belief. But he comes up to me and says, first thing he says was, "I found Jesus a couple years ago." My instant reaction was I was super happy for the guy. Well, that's great. That's great. But now he's, I'm just saying, the guy still looked like a bit of a mess, out of, 80 pounds overweight, drinking a beer, still got the red, he's still drinking. And I'm like, oh, well, to me, in my opinion, if you don't change anything that way, if you don't change your behavior, and I'm not saying everyone has to be this perfect specimen and this perfect, physical specimen and this perfect, kind person. We're going to slip and fall. I get it. But your actions speak everything. Your actions, the way you carry yourself, the way you're not afraid to tell your opinion, and the way you're not afraid to have discussion, knowing that people are not, I know people most are not going to agree with the way I look at life and the way I look at God and religion. Well, I hate to say religion, my faith, my spirituality. I get it. I don't care. But give me the same courtesy I'm giving you. That's all I'm asking. As a Christian person out there, who cares? You know what I mean? As long as you get to the same, who cares if you're a Muslim? As long as you get, they got that all screwed up. Muslims do not want to kill Americans. This is the little seeds they plant because they want control over it. They want you in fear. Oh, I better worship God or else I'm going to go to hell. Or if I'm good, I'm going to have this other life in this other world where we're in this thing called heaven. I believe the heaven is here on earth, and is how everything you give is what you get back. It's that simple, guys. Don't be an asshole. Be kind. Give of yourself. You know the right things to do. You do. You're smart. Okay? But stop with the arguing. I don't have all the answers. You sure as shit don't have all the answers. So let's just try to live a nice, peaceful life. That's my whole point of Christmas. And then the day after Christmas, everyone goes back to their same, even the Christmas celebration itself. It's so material driven and people in panic, getting junk for people to show that they care. Like, it's just unnecessary. It makes me laugh, but then it gets annoying and it makes me sad, But at any rate, that's just how I'm feeling. That's just what made me, that gave me a record scratch today. That kind of threw me off. I said, that's hilarious to me that it's just so easy, and there are people who do, who do understand the meaning of Christmas and the meaning of just being like Jesus all 365, not just on the 25th running the church. That's all, guys. Leave comments, good or bad, and know that I love you. Have a good one.